right. Hello, Tansei, bonjour. Welcome to another edition of Millionaire Mindset. This is an Indigenous-based entrepreneurial type video, and where myself, Dallas Arcan, sharing some information on just entrepreneurial activities that I'm doing that I would like to share throughout the community. Now, I recently just received an award for Powwow Pitches for the Grassroots Entrepreneur of the Year award. So in today's video, I kind of wanted to talk about what it's like to be an Indigenous entrepreneur, and to speak to other aspiring entrepreneurs out there, and share some of my story and the stories that I know of that could potentially help you in your journey, because some of you might be struggling out there. Some of you might be waiting to pull the trigger on something good. I mean, pull the trigger in a metaphorically good way, and not to trigger anything bad out of that. So, that's the thing about Indigenous communities. There's a lot of triggers out there that cause many of us to react sometimes, and turn to addictions even. That's what a lot of the narrative is sometimes. Well, at least from what I know from my community growing up. Now, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dallas Arcan. I come to you from Alexander First Nation in Alberta. It's close to Edmonton. It's northwest of Edmonton. It's about a half-hour drive northwest of Edmonton. So approximately 40 kilometers northwest. And miles, I don't know what that is. In miles, you reduce it down to 0.6, or no, it's 1.6 kilometers in a mile. So I don't know what that is in miles. So that would be probably 25 miles maybe. So I guess that would be the relevance to that. If you're in the United States, my reservation is approximately 25 miles away from the city. So we're fairly close, but not close enough where we could be economically involved as much as Enoch Cree Nation, which is pretty much a suburb to Edmonton. So they have lots of economic prosperity and opportunity because of their closeness to the actual city. Now, they always say in business, location is important, right? And yeah, I believe that to be true, but not all businesses need to be in a specific location, especially like if you're creating products and, like you're creating your products, but then you take them to market by doing online sales or doing the farmers markets, or doing, the showcases and the big exhibitions, where you go and get an artisan or vendor booth and promote your products that way. So there's a lot of different ways you can get your products out there, and services and brand awareness. So there's a lot of different things to consider when you're an entrepreneur. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's a never stop, ongoing process all the time. You're always like, you're always in beast mode. You're always wanting to go. So one of the things, right here, this is my current company, Kakio Productions, and right now this is I don't know if you could see that very well, but that's Kakio Studio Cafe. It says Kakio Studio Cafe, so that's where I'm broadcasting today out of, right from my very own commercial space in Edmonton, Alberta. I believe we are trailblazers in this space, my partner and I, from Teepee Treats. So I'll give you guys a quick little tour of the space, just so you know what the space looks like. So here's overall what the space is looking like. This is Studio Cafe. It's called Kakio Studio Cafe. So this is the studio part, and there's the cafe part, right? So we're not completely open or set up right now. I actually have a business meeting today with the building owner. We're still finalizing our permits. We have had a few events in this space. So this is the latest business venture as an entrepreneur that I've taken on. So this is right in the heart of downtown Edmonton. You can see the downtown buildings. It's fairly busy street. It's there's Norquest College right there. Grant McEwen College is down there, and Jasper Ave is a block down that way. So we're kind of in the middle of the Ice District. So we're right in the jungle, right? So here's a local artist we're featuring at some of our events, and we have his artwork hanging. His name is John Rombo. So that's what this space is that we created to promote Indigenous culture, Indigenous art, Indigenous entrepreneurialism, Indigenous business. You know, like my friend Curtis Cardinal, and he is actually subleasing off of me. I guess if you want to be politically correct about things, he is a sublease in this deal that I got here with the cafe. That is. So I'm just gonna turn things around here. This thing is not working very well for me today. Okay, so here's the TP Treats Cafe. Don't mind the shaky camera. It's yeah. And welcome to podcasting, content creating 101. So there's the TP Treats Cafe. I wanted to show you. We're trying to promote culture here in this cafe space. And it's also an event space. It's kind of dark right now because I don't have the lights on. But we basically gave this place a facelift, and we put it together. It originally was a comic book store, so we had to convert it a little bit. Oh, I keep hitting the stand. Okay, sorry. I'm getting better at this podcasting. So this is the raw, organic version of podcasting or content creation. But there we go. So there's the cafe, and we're set to open though. We're just preparing for that day. So what this space is this is a flex space. So right now I have it set up as a dance studio because I teach dance classes here. That's one of the things that I do in my business model. So my company is a production company. So we focus on doing productions like unique productions, music productions, Indigenous artists, and then I do my combination of hoop dancing, music, art, all rolled up into one. And I never knew that I could make a living as an artist and something as simple as hoop dancing and performing. I never thought that would ever be a thing that I can make a business out of. You know, like if you watch Mick Jagger in that Moves with Jagger video, and he's like talking about, he's getting interviewed, and in the video he's like saying he doesn't think he's going to do this for a living his whole life, or he doesn't think he's going to do it very much longer. Like when they asked him about the Rolling Stones, how long is he going to be in the Rolling Stones? Well, little did he know that someday he would be, you know, he would be an icon, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and, you know, never have to work another day in his life. You know, that's living the dream, right? So right now, this has really been taxing on our mental health and really tests you, your wit and your will as an entrepreneur. Like any entrepreneur, like your wit and your will and your patience will always continually be tested on a regular basis because, you know, in all honesty, you know, being an entrepreneur isn't easy because nothing's guaranteed, right? You're basically taking a risk every step you take. So that's why you kind of have to take those calculated risks. You know, it's like going mud bogging on the res, you know, when you take those rough trails, you gotta make sure you got a way out, you know. It's kind of how entrepreneurialism, like especially being from the res and into the city and then going into a commercial space, learning how to deal with permitting and learning how to deal with, you know, getting your business license and running a business and setting up all the proper channels, like all the proper funneling for your income streams. Because income streams, especially as a business owner, especially as an entrepreneur, those income streams are extremely important. So you always want to funnel those in right, and you want to set up those systems before you even open your doors for business. Now, I currently operate as an artist. So right now, a lot of my performances and fees from being an artist is what's sustaining and building this company, Kakio Productions. Now, once it's up to the level of potential where I know it can be, it can actually, you know, create more jobs for people, and that's my goal, is to grow the company to a level where I employ a small group of people, and you know, and the company is growing, and we're doing events, and we're doing good things in the community. So that's what it's all about. That's essentially what I wrote about in my new book. I got a book coming out very shortly here. In the next few weeks, actually, it'll be out. It's called The Grassroots of an Indigenous Entrepreneur. So that's my latest product that I'll be promoting. So that book basically is kind of it's my way of sharing all the businesses I've ever started, how I did it basically from scratch, from nothing, how I went from, you know, res to riches, I like to say. You know, I went from being the poorest guy on the res to, you know, all of a sudden being somebody that everybody from the res knows, and beyond that, you know, like you know, I've got national recognition under my name now, and that's just because of, you know, the things I've done as an artist, but also as a content creator, as a motivational speaker, a lot of different things. There's a lot of different avenues. So this new book, though, I wrote it for same reason why I'm doing this podcast video, is sharing the knowledge, paying it forward by sharing the knowledge, and sharing, you know, blazing the path, being a trailblazer, as I mentioned earlier, and setting the path forward for future entrepreneurs and people that are wanting to start a business but don't even know where to start, right? So the best thing you can do if you're thinking about starting any business is start with a pen and a paper. That's why they call this the mighty pen, right? The mighty pen, because when you take your ideas and you put them on paper, somehow they magically start to happen. Like, it's just magic. It's just like Fantasia with Mickey Mouse, and he's waving his magic wand. This is a magic wand. The pen is a magic wand. That's why they call it the mighty pen, right? So the mighty pen, with the stroke of a pen, you know, you can sign your life away. Really, that's what they say. That's the power of the pen, and the written word, of course, because the written word, you know, that's why it exists. So you can put your ideas on paper, so you can organize your thoughts, you can organize your process, you can keep track, you can keep record of everything, because, you know, you can offload things that are off on your mind, and then it's easy to go back to because you already wrote it down, right? And then when you write it down, the reality of it just becomes its own life, like this painting, right? This painting was blank canvas before he put that magic paintbrush to it and brought his vision to life, right? Just like any artist out there. You know, we got the magic inside of us, right? It's just taking this tool, the magic pen, right? That's what the pen is, a tool. That's what money is in business. And that's what I mentioned in my book too. We use money as a tool, right? Money is nothing more or less than a tool. It's a tool for us to get the things that we want. It's the tool. It's, I guess it's a vessel too, because it helps us to keep things going, right? To pay the bills, to keep the lights on, you know, to pay the employees, to pay for these events. You know, sometimes you got to pay the artist. So far, the events that we've done so far, we never even broke even. We lost money on the events, but it's not about the loss. The fact that we made any money is actually a good thing, because in the beginning of a company, you have to do a lot of grinding, a lot of testing out things, trying new things, and not expecting anything back. And if you do, you don't want to try to profit off of your first event, put all your eggs in one basket, and then let yourself down that way. I've been there, done that too. I've put on events where I saw the potential of us making like $10,000, and then all of a sudden not enough people showed up for those ticket sales, not enough concession sales. We had to pay more than we thought we did. The fees for artists, expenses, food, transportation. It just goes on and on, right? So that's the unforgettable list of being an entrepreneur. There's constant bills. Like right now, the internet's got to be paid for here, right? And we got to keep. There's regular insurance every month. There's insurance that gets withdrawn for the business, right? There's all these operational costs on a regular basis, on a constant basis. So surviving that though is just a matter of balance, having the balance of generating income, doing income generating things, not letting those bills get to your head. Just know that you're on the hustle to pay them, and you do have money coming in. You got little small wins. Try a bunch of different little things for your business. So I'm trying multiple different ways of generating income, generating interest for this business. On top of that, I'm very fortunate enough that I have my main business as an artist still paying the bills in this place. So so that's all I really have to share for today. So if you do have an income already and you want to start a business, just make sure to keep that mainstream side hustle or income or whatever you want to call it. Or if you have a side hustle that you want to turn into a business, you want to grow that thing to the level where you could eventually walk away from your mainstream income, or just keep it. Find ways to spend less time at places and maximize your time for the money that you are owed or that you want to earn. And that's one thing we all can't buy back. That's time, right? Money comes and goes, but time, if any one of us can buy any of our time back, I'm sure somebody would, like all the billionaires would for sure, but we can't. So time is valuable, time is the essence, and time is the new big out there in the market. So the faster and the quicker you get stuff done, and the less you sit back and wait for the right moment, now's the time. Now's as good a time as any time to move forward, regardless of the challenges, regardless of the gauntlet that you may face of obstacles, like things that make you want to stop in your tracks and oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, or how I'm gonna figure this out now. Am I gonna need $30,000 to solve this problem or not? Or what's the deal here? It's it's kind of an ongoing struggle. But once you get through it though, the rewards are endless. That's how you build a business, is that it doesn't have to be rough in the beginning. That's why you keep it simple. So right now I'm in the level where I'm beyond simple. So I'm graduated from that. But at the same time, I'm still very beginner in this world, because all these businesses around me, they're the experienced ones. They're the veterans. They're the ones that know a lot of things about business, a lot of things about commercial space, about bylaws, about how to function in this downtown jungle we call downtown, right? So either way, we got to be brave, courageous, and push through it anyway. So that's pretty much all I have to share for today for the Millionaire Mindset. And how this millionaire mindset came to be, just a simple reminder, is back when my daughter was going to high school, junior high school, she used to come home crying every day or every other day, and her mom would tell me about it. And so one day I had a talk with her. I was like, let me have a talk with her, see what's going on, eh? Because I talk to my kids whenever they're, going through stuff like that. So I talked to my daughter, and I said to my daughter, I was like, what's the problem? I heard you're having some problems in school. And she's like, yeah, all these all these non-Indigenous kids, they frown upon me because they make you feel like little or less than anything, and they make you feel worthless because they're rich and they're driving like Mercedes Benz, and their parents have a big house and they have a swimming pool, and they go on Mexico vacations 3 times a year or whatever, that whole thing. And I said, you know what? That's cool. They can have all that, Anybody can have that, really. If we really wanted those things, we can put our mind to it, and we can rack up our credit cards too and do that, So I was like, one thing you need to understand, I told my daughter, and I was like, what we have as Indigenous people, they can never have. We have land, we have history, we have culture. On the res, we can do certain things that they can't, Every time you do something in the city, you gotta apply for a permit. You gotta do this, and then you gotta pay taxes on it, and then you gotta pay fees on it. On the res, on our own land, on First Nations land, as a First Nations person, we don't have to do any of that. We can just, pretty much do what we want, to an extent, right? In a respectful way. You can't just go say, I'm gonna build a McDonald's on the res. You would have to get a BCR, right? A band council resolution, or whatever res nation you're from, you would have to consult with your leadership if you could, for say, bring a McDonald's to your res. But that probably wouldn't happen because it has to have a high population density in order to sustain something like that, right? So, but if there was any other business, like a trucking outfit, and you wanted to put your trucking business or something, like hauling logs or whatever, hauling gravel, trucks hauling water, and you wanted to operate a business on reserve, and it's your res, then yeah, that's way easier. So I explained to my daughter, I was like, the fact that you and I, we have status cards, that makes us instant millionaires. So from that day forth, I let everybody know, everybody out there that has a status card, we have leverage. We're already millionaires, right? Because we own this country, we own this land. This is our land. We're treaty people. Our treaties lock us into these lands. Our history, our ancestors, our culture, the beauty of who we are and who we are to become in the future generations. So with that said, that's today's edition of Millionaire Mindset, and we don't say bye in our language, but see you later. Peace.